Saturday, May 16th, Brooklyn will come alive with live acoustic performances from some of Grenada's top local acts, setting the stage for an evening that celebrates culture, cuisine, and community. Set in an atmosphere of refined elegance, guests will enjoy a curated Caribbean culinary experience. The evening will also feature a special keynote address by the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, Prime Minister of Grenada. This premier fundraising affair promises an unforgettable experience where flavor, music, and purpose come together for a truly meaningful evening. Tickets are available now on GoToFate and Eventbrite. Secure yours early and be part of an extraordinary night. Spice Indulgence, an evening of heritage, connection, and impact.
It's a celebration of all things Grenadian. Showcase Grenada Exhibition 2026, Sunday, April 12th, 1 p.m. to midnight.
Any chance you see I get, I go in Grenada.
Presented by the Grenada Independence Planning Committee in collaboration with the Consulate General of Grenada in Toronto. Hosted by Fatman George. This exciting event features live performances from renowned artists like Talpri.
Welcome to the Job Nation. It's not your imagination.
And Alma Boy, alongside other various artists: Kenny C, Michael Brown, PJP, 473 Odie, Leon Spice, Hudson George, Corey Ross, and Tessa Ann. It's happening at the JCA, 995 Arrow Road, North York, Ontario. Indulge your taste buds with authentic Grenadian food, including the famous oil down, fresh produce, spices, and more. Enjoy thrilling entertainment from steel pan music, drumming, dancing by the Spice Isle dancers, and traditional mass performances like shotney, plus poetry and comedy. Families are welcome. There are plenty of activities for children to enjoy. Explore booths from local vendors and learn about tourism in Apwetut community. Is inviting you this Sunday, May 3rd, to something special. Apwetut Vibes, Up From Here, taking place at Apwetut Junction, near the McQueens, from 3 to 10 p.m. Come experience a real community lime with live entertainment from Solid the Band, bringing the vibes all evening. Enjoy free Saraka-style local food, cooked and shared by the community. Drinks on sale. We're inviting everyone from Bellevue, Pomrose, Tower Hill, and all surrounding areas to come and be part of it. It's all about good energy, good people, good vibes. Sponsored by the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, Member of Parliament for St. David, Solid the Band, Wagiti Rental and Sound Company, Country Cold Store, Luma Lighting Decor, and the Apwetut community. So don't miss it. Apwetut Junction, this Sunday, May 3rd, 3 to 10 p.m. Apwetut Vibes, Up From Here.
We going up, going up, going up.
Good afternoon to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. We're happy to welcome all those who are listening on radio via WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio. We've got 100.5 FM out of Labby in Grenville. We've got Rampoon Radio out of Delaware in the United States, and several other stations were picking up the Heartbeat on a Sunday afternoon. Also, a warm welcome to those who are on the NDC Facebook feed and YouTube. So, welcome to another NDC episode for another beautiful Sunday afternoon in Grenada. And those of you out in Apwetut area, make sure and link up with your parliamentary representative out in the Apwetut area for a beautiful salaka and entertainment for the entire surrounding communities. So what we're going to be doing today, we have in studio the Honorable Ron Redhead. He is the parliamentary representative for St. George Northeast and a PRO for the National Democratic Congress. And we'll be chatting a bit on the VAT Amendment Bill. But we'll also be sharing with you later on excerpts from the recently held May Day celebrations in Carriacou. And we'll be ending the program with the message from the Senator, the Honorable Claudette Joseph. She's the Minister responsible for Labour. So we'll be ending with this. But there'll be some very exciting excerpts to share with you from that May Day celebrations out in Carriacou. I heard it was really exciting and extremely positive indeed. A rare occasion in Grenada, I would say, between Labour and government. But you shall judge for yourself. So right now in studio is the representative for St. George Northeast, the parliamentary rep, Ron Redhead. Welcome to the Heartbeat once again.
Brother Terry, thank you very much, and good evening to all, good afternoon, to all our listeners and viewers, both at home and abroad. Wherever you are throughout the length and breadth of the world, we say greetings to you.
Absolutely. Though the great diaspora.
And the great diaspora.
Definitely.
Yes.
All right. There's been some little talks and hiccups here and there and so forth regarding the VAT amendment bill. You care to clarify some of this?
Definitely. And so before I begin, just allow me 2 minutes just to talk about 2 important matters in my constituency. One, we had a passing of a very strong stalwart, Ms. Gloria Alexander, who was diagnosed with some illnesses and was battling that for the last number of months. And, unfortunately, she succumbed to that illness. So we'd like to extend some condolences, particularly to her friends and family members. It's really, really hurtful to know that she is gone. She hails from my community, Mongay, polling division H07, and she was recently employed with the Bolio Primary School. So it's a great loss, not just for us in the NDC, but the entire community, because many of the children in and around the area would recall how well she was with them and, taking care of them when time to go, etc., from school, making sure they get the bus safe and keeping that order. And she's going to be missed even at the Catholic Church as well. So it's something that we're deeply concerned with. Additionally, Sister Glenda, many of you know her. She's a strong supporter of the National Democratic Congress. She ends up at the General Hospital. She's been hospitalized now. This is second occasion. Unfortunately, she suffered a stroke, and so she is within our prayers. She hails from the community of Tempe. She is within our prayers at this moment in time.
Well, condolences from the National Democratic Congress on the passing of these 2 individuals.
Definitely. Right.
Yeah.
So you asked me specific to the VAT Amendment Bill 2026. So essentially, Terry, I want to start off by debunking what is a clear, deliberate attempt to confuse the intent and purpose of this bill. Right. So we'll start first and foremost with the policy of the government. And it is twofold. One, it allows for fair competition in the sector where local businesses who fall under the current VAT system and our digital services is now subjected to the same as foreign businesses will be subjected to. In other words, it brings foreign businesses in line with the similar tax regime or structure when it comes to VAT that the local businesses would have to go through. So it's about ensuring that we have fair competition. The second area is that it allows us, through the Ministry of Finance, to broaden the tax base, now including foreign digital services companies, to be able to apply VAT. In other words, VAT is a consumption tax, and therefore foreign companies who are defined by the legislation, and we'll get into that shortly, are now subjected to apply the charge of VAT. And so that consumption now will be inclusive of VAT. And I will explain what it means. The legislation gives some basic definitions of a number of key areas. But for the purposes of this conversation and time, in the interest of time, I will only deal with the consumer and the non-resident supplier. So the definitions of both. So one, under the amendment or proposed amendment, a consumer is just an ordinary person who watching Netflix at home, paying for a phone app, subscribing to a cloud storage for personal use. It does not include a business paying for software to run its company. It does not include a company buying online ads. And it does not include a VAT registered shop purchasing digital tools. It does not. And so it is important for us to highlight those elements because we need to clearly distinguish who the legislation is targeting. The legislation is not targeting businesses that already are subjected to the VAT laws in Grenada. That's one. And in the instance, you're going to hear about it just now, if there is some mischief or question of double taxation, there is something called reverse charge mechanism that allows the local business here to not be subjected to having to pay double taxes by one paying VAT to purchase the online thing, product or service, and still having to apply VAT in their business. It's clearly stated in this legislation. So that is very important. And the second definition I think I want to give is what is a non-resident supplier. That is a business that sells services to the people of Grenada, but does not have an office or physical presence in Grenada. That is a simple definition. So the bill does not increase the VAT rate, one, nor does it expand VAT to essential goods and services and everyday services, right? It narrowly focuses on bringing digital services supplied from abroad in line with our tax system as it relates to VAT.
All right. So,
that is simple.
So let us see how we can now break this down to the grassroots level.
Correct.
So let's say a Netflix. They provide services to, well, all over the world.
Right.
Grenada, no exception.
Correct.
You are saying, or in fact the government is saying, Netflix must now register with the Ministry of Finance
Correct.
as a digital provider
Correct.
of service to the Grenadian public.
Correct.
And they must be subjected to paying VAT.
Well, not they pay the VAT, but the consumer who consumes from Netflix has to pay the VAT.
Has to pay the VAT.
That is correct. So essentially, remember, VAT is a consumption tax.
Yes.
So what it is doing is to, so let's quantify what that will mean. If you have a VAT subscription with Netflix, that is around, let's say, $15 US. If you're paying $15 US with your card, so nothing is changing with how you pay it. After the passage of this law, and after the 6-month grace period, which is stipulated in the legislation, so there will be a time to implement it, let's say the rate is at 15%, you will then be required to just pay additionally $2.25. And so in your checkout portal, it's going to state that clearly, right? So your bill will now be $17.25 for your $15 subscription that you're paying for now. That is one. But it also goes clear to define, if I have a business, let us say that I am a registered graphic or a PR business, and I do graphic designs, etc., and I have to pay for subscriptions online, it allows me as a business not to be listed as a consumer and to be charged VAT to purchase the subscription, right? So this is not something that is going to be applied to business, and then now they will have to pay VAT as a consumer to the foreign digital companies, and then now they'll have to try and charge VAT to consumers locally, and then they will have to try and recoup VAT and so on. So that is not going to be applied because we're including something called a reverse charge mechanism. That takes care of being able to file to make it clear on your books that you already charge VAT to consumers in Grenada. So therefore,
so there's no double taxation.
There is no double taxation. All right. So this is critical to explain. The other area or element is that, and I think for the purposes of the argument, because Barbados is the legislation that is closest to what Grenada is doing because it's in our region. And by the way, as it relates to region or jurisdictions, this piece of legislation is in 100 jurisdictions across the world. In addition to that, I think it's about 120 countries currently have legislation in this case. So there's no question about it being an untested piece of legislation and therefore requires all this kind of consultation because it's novel, etc. That is a non-argument because it is something that is tested. It exists currently, as I mentioned, in 100 jurisdictions, and it is currently existing in about 120 countries around the world. So, when it is placed in relation to the Barbados model, the initial model had some weaknesses when it was first introduced, right, in the early 2000 and maybe around 2017 thereabout. I stand to be corrected on the exact date with Barbados. But this bill now offers 4 key benefits. And I want to take the opportunity to explain them as slow as possible and put them in layman terms as you have asked us to do. You have the insertion of a new section, Section 8A, Clause 4, where the person operating that electronic marketplace shall be treated as the supplier where a platform, and it clearly defines, processes payments, sets the terms, and facilitates delivery, and the platform can be treated as a supplier for VAT purposes. So in other words, it's not just an open sepulchre. If a man doing a graphic design business and he is merely a participant of the platform, in addition to providing his service, where someone will pay him to do a graphic design, but he has a subscription, he will not have to apply the charge of VAT. And so therefore you would not be having it there, right? It specifically deals with foreign companies under this sector that is not under our system and bringing it in line. The second area is that it provides clear rules for proving consumers are in Grenada. It utilizes IP tracking, billing address, and in particular, which is something new, the bank account location. That is going to determine where the consumer is in Grenada, so that the company like Netflix will know if it must apply the VAT to the consumer who will be purchasing there. And the question of fairness, which we spoke about earlier on, right? So better treatment for businesses. And when we talk about our local businesses, they cannot be subjected to one charge. And then there's another charge for foreign businesses, or no charge at all in this present situation for foreign businesses who are, in a sense, providing the same service. So it is to bring it in line with a more fair digital environment when it comes to our businesses along that line. And then I spoke about the question of the smoother implementation, where there's the 6 months grace period, which allows us to take time to have this implemented. So from the time of the passage of this legislation, there would be 6 month grace. There would be a 6 month grace period until any charge will be applied. Right. So that is important. So we're looking at closer to 2027 after the passage of this bill, where we'll see any increase. And at that point, we are hopeful that the conditions, geopolitical situation in the world could all actually normalize. But I want to go back to another point that I was making, because you see, it's important. Now, when we talk about legislations, there must be a clear understanding as to the purpose of the legislation. As I said, in terms of what this bill seeks to do, which is to fix this gap that exists between local digital services business and foreign digital services business under the current VAT regime. But the most important part about this is that it's going to help us broaden the tax base to be able to collect more taxes. And when I say more taxes, not an additional tax, but broadening it so that you have access to collect more VAT on digital services consumed.
All right. Now, would you say that the local digital providers may have flagged that as imbalance?
Of course.
Whereas they...
Of course. Because they are
their
required,
consumers are paying.
That is the point.
And the foreign suppliers
do not
the
charge
consumers
VAT.
do not
charge
pay.
any VAT.
And they have no expenses, basically.
That is the point. And then there's this other concern that was raised about the business being in some position not to comply because now they have to remit and so on. As I mentioned, this legislation is very clear. So it specifically defines, if you have this exchange, the marketplace, etc., it made examples of what it is referring to. So it's dealing with the big businesses who have the capacity to remit VAT. So they do it, as I mentioned, in over 100 jurisdictions around the world, right? So they do have the ability. So it's not rocket science. And presently in our region, Barbados is a country, neighboring island, that currently has that system and structure, and it is working, notwithstanding the initial concerns that they have when they implemented it. So we sometimes have to be careful, Brother Terry, with the perception that we give. And I want to take up the opposition here very direct. This is not an increase in VAT. I saw someone posted something this morning saying how after the passage of this legislation, VAT rate is going to go to 30%. I mean, erroneous, right? And you see, the problem with these things is that it's social media. It's an open sepulchre. And people can say anything without basing it on facts. And then now, after the opposition recognized, well, truth and in fact, it may not have been a broad increase in general cost of living, they now start to use this fallacy where they utilize someone who is appeal to authority. In other words, someone who is a lawyer, because he or she comes and speaks on the bill, then what they're saying must be true, right? So they now reach to that level, which is just to use the argument that this thing was rushed, that somehow or the other we don't know what we're doing, and it is an untested law. And as I have said, because it is in multiple jurisdictions around the world, it is a tested legislation, and so far it has been working pretty well.
All right, so we are comfortable to pay VAT to local digital providers, Flow, Digicel, and all the others, whoever may exist.
Right.
But the opposition has an issue, a problem with foreign entities who are providing similar services.
Operating in our space.
Operating in our space. And revenue must not be given to the Ministry of Finance.
And let's go further. Because when we talk about ensuring that there are policies to now further reduce costs of living in the area of food and energy, for example, how are we going to be able to sustain tax revenues and at the same time drop them to comfortable margins when the economic situation is uncertain globally, and to be able to still take care of healthcare, youth, agriculture, among other sectors. Yeah. So this helps to provide for an additional revenue stream to be able to allow government or give it some leeway to say, no, well, we can now reduce maybe the VAT on food items. We can now do X, we can now do Y, for instance. In other words, it allows us a little bit more legroom to respond to the external economic shocks. And this is what this policy is doing. It is a good policy, and it is a policy that brings us in line with the digital economy in a more modern environment and in a more fair tax structure and regime when it deals with foreign businesses and local businesses providing the same service or good.
All right, so question. Are foreign digital providers, are they presently paying an operational tax to Ministry of Finance for providing such services, not just to Grenada, but to the region?
No.
And should we not be
Right.
looking at that possibility
Well,
of charging them to operate in our space?
Well, the Ministry of Finance and IRD would be the best suited individuals to respond to this specific question. But what I would say as it relates to the VAT, because it's a consumption tax and people consume on a regular basis. And I can tell you this. Now, if a man could afford to have a Netflix subscription for $15, if it goes up by $2, that ain't changing the price of sugar for this person because they can afford to. In other words, if things hard, you won't have a Netflix account, right? Nobody is fooling me with that. I'm saying, and let's be real, look at the percentage of the individuals who currently have Netflix accounts, who currently is involved in subscriptions for streaming and so on, is just about maybe, I don't want to exaggerate, but between 5 and 1%. One could argue. Even if you have young people, who are creative and doing their things, they find ways to work around that. There are a number of applications that do not provide for a subscription where you can use and get the same result doing it. There are open source applications all over the world and is downloadable without being subjected to a subscription. There are trials, etc., etc. In other words, this targets the individual household consumer, not the business who is a consumer in their own right when dealing with subscriptions, let's say cloud storage, etc. It does not target them. And this bill clearly states that. So, I don't know how best this can be explained in certain quarters, but I think what we need to do now is to continue the explanation and provide the clauses in the various clauses in the bill that demonstrates X, Y, and Z and explain it in layman terms. But I can say, Terry, there are some who may be genuinely confused where what we are doing here this morning, and I assume once Minister of Finance returns, because he's out on state business, this is why he couldn't be here this morning. He was asked, as you know, to be on sit-in. He couldn't be in person nor online as well. But it provides us an opportunity, as I said, Terry, to explain what is happening. And I can tell you, some people just looking for a little mischief just to try the government. We understand you may not support the government, but don't reduce yourself to what I would consider very careless statements, and kind of demonstrates your own lack of capacity and credibility when dealing with national issues. Don't do that. Don't reduce yourself to that.
So certain lawyers, as you hinted, may be heading down that road, or attempting to head down that road.
Attempting to. But, I mean, to each his own. Everybody have their right to comment, and I think we welcome it. But it's now an opportunity to add the clarity and to say, categorically, this does not increase the rate of VAT, nor does it add an additional tax on VAT to essential goods and services. So internet is not going to go up as a result of this. Yeah.
All right. Well, personally, I can see, as a region, CARICOM, looking into the future of foreign digital companies providing services to the region.
Correct.
Being charged an operational fee direct to the government. This is what we charge you in order to come into our space to provide services. And maybe this is something CARICOM may probably wish to look at. And on the other hand, the said foreign digital companies, I don't know of any CARICOM government that has taken on any of them. But in the United States, in the UK, several of them have been forced to accept auditors, government auditors, to audit their books. And many a time they end up paying the government millions of dollars because they did not account appropriately for what is due to government.
And that is correct. And that has its own place because where they are headquartered, right? Now, for us in this region, where we do not have the headquarters of Facebook, for example, our issues will be a little bit more than just applying a charge for VAT. Privacy. What is going to happen with our data? And so these things, what we are doing now, helps to lay the basis for us to be able to tackle these issues in a non-partisan, in a fair and a bit more equitable platform and basis when it comes to our jurisdiction versus the power of some of these large companies that are operating around the world and seem to be very influential in the internal affairs, in some instances, of regions and countries. So I think what we have to do is, coming out of that, is not try to mislead the public about VAT now is going to increase to 30% and all this kind of reckless statements, but is to say, what more can we do to be able to operate in a controlled environment and manage foreign businesses in terms of coming into our space so that they can collaborate and they can be given the same structure and regime as our local businesses to operate in our said market. That is where we need to get in the conversation.
Yep, most definitely. So at least there is balance.
Correct. And
or
fairness.
appeared balance
Yes.
in the system of operating.
Definitely.
Because they're operating in the cloud and local providers operating on the ground and get in charge on the ground. They have to...
And they're doing the same...
And they're providing the same services.
Yes.
So, take a look at it and see where the fairness and where the unfairness
That is
lies
all this
and
is
so
about.
forth,
And as I have mentioned, it does not increase the rate of VAT, nor does it add any additional VAT charges on essential goods and services.
Great. Well, I think you have cleared the matter up. Hopefully this is properly understood.
Well, if I know my opposition, I don't think so. As yet. but I think now we can probably...
But I consider that to be small potatoes.
Which, they wouldn't accept. No. but I think in terms of the whole question of the economy, because I think that is where they have alluded the conversation should be. So let's go there. Now, if we were to analyze what we are doing now as it relates to diversifying the tax system and base in Grenada, including foreign digital companies now to apply the charge of VAT so that they'll widen the pool, more VAT will be collected, etc., etc. This is ensuring that Grenada's trajectory remains on a sustainable path. The World Bank is one of the entities recommending this. The Ministry of Finance, certainly in its policy unit, was able to come up with the necessary policy, and we then, certainly in collaboration with the Ministry of Legal Affairs, etc., created this bill. But as I said, we should probably go further, and let's examine the opposition's track record. If they did do a good job in the last 20-something years, we didn't have to implement that. Okay? So let's be real about that. Let us also look at what they are proposing going forward. So they say they want to get into government. Their talk is lower the cost of living, just cut VAT on this, reduce this, water, take VAT off sugar, do everything. Where will the government get the revenues to upgrade the schools, to fix the hospitals, to pay the teachers, to meet the wages and the increased minimum wage which we have introduced? All policies geared towards improving your ability to pay for goods and services, right? And so the perception that is created when the opposition attempts to speak to these issues is always what this government is doing now is Armageddon and corruption left, right, and center. But vote for us. We go come in, lower the cost of this, lower the cost. Where are you getting the revenue to do that?
Well,
right?
not only that. Where did he day?
Well, I ain't even going on. I ain't even going all there. But the conversation, that is the point. And so the conversation is that from a realistic standpoint, what is being proposed by the opposition as alternatives just does not make sense.
Well, that's how it is all the time. When
It
you're in
just does not
opposition,
make
you have
sense.
all the solutions.
That's the
until you get
problem.
there.
But at least you must have credible solutions so that people can say
Yeah, I can believe you.
categorically that this is credible, it's something that we can pursue. But again, the government, NDC administration, we are not against criticism, so to speak, on the broad policy issues. What we are saying is that in this instance, there is no mischief as it relates to this legislation. It's not a novel legislation. It is not something that is designed to increase the national cost of living on the backs of anyone. And all goods and essential services remain along the same VAT rate that is currently charged. Where we have the challenge is the global uncertain situation. And that is the externalities that is influencing the cost of goods and services throughout the region and the world to go higher. We see what is happening in the Middle East. We have no control over that. We see what is happening in the energy sector as a response. We have no control again over that. And so what we need to do is, one, diversify the economy, and to go further, diversify the tax base as we are doing now. And in diversifying the economy, ensuring that our farmers can now produce Irish potatoes, they can sell for the local market, cut out or reduce rather the importation, and start exporting. So they themselves can become a bit more sustainable as we go forward. So that is the tactic. When we are building the national hatchery, for example, it is to ensure that we can start now producing our local poultry products. And therefore, the reliance on external factors, which is subjected to a lot of negative externalities and is driving the cost up, that we can start reducing the reliance on that. And that is what this is about. This is not about a shenanigan and coming, looking for vote and saying, well, we'll cut this. And we need to be realistic. Grenada has to grow. For Grenada to improve its quality of life, a number of things need to improve or go up along with it. Salaries and wages is one, but salaries and wages can only go so far without overtaking, in a sense, productivity, because if you increase your productivity levels, salaries and wages could go up more. But if you increase salary, wages, and your productivity remains generally the same, it is a challenge, therefore, to pay the wages and still be able to make the profits so that you could do some of the things that you need to. So we have to be realistic, Terry, in our criticism, but also credible, so that we don't come across as if what we are saying is to just try and see if election is going to call in June of 2026, with the hope that saying they will cut the VAT on sugar is going to get them X amount of votes and so on to be able to win seats. And so that is just not done. And we want to encourage Grenadians. We can't force you what to listen to, but listen less to the nonsense and focus on the positive stuff that is happening.
Absolutely. And just to note that less sugar is better for the body. Yeah?
Of course. Of course. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we have covered that nicely. So time is moving on quickly. We want to do excerpts from the union representatives at May Day celebrations in Carriacou, and also to end with the Minister of Labor's presentation. So let us quickly just take a very short break, and then we come back. We'll talk about your constituency.
Excellent.
All right. Back with you in a moment.
Good day, everyone. My name is Isaiah Crowley, one of the residents at Guankai, which is under the situation, as you are aware, right? Now, there has been a lot of controversy, right, regarding the whole Guankai situation. You know, the government wanting the people off of Crown property, right? And by all right, they are right, you know. At the same time, it's a technical situation because that's the area where a lot of people live, you know, different families and so forth, even including myself, right? It's actually the first time I'm going to be on the media, and I'm actually here to thank Minister Andy and his people for making sure throughout this chaos that he did find a home for all the people that needs it, right? Of course, there are going to be some that aren't happy with the outcome, but I can tell you, as a resident of the area, he really and truly did touch everyone that needs it, right? To the people that is fueling the propaganda, right? If the situation is fixed, then why keep fueling, right? What are you fueling? So again, big up to yourself, Mr. Williams, and your team for doing such an amazing work. Thank you.
The Apwetut community is inviting you this Sunday, May 3rd, to something special. Apwetut Vibes, Up From Here, taking place at Apwetut Junction near the McQueens from 3 to 10 p.m. Come experience a real community lime with live entertainment from Solid the Band, bringing the vibes all evening. Enjoy free Saraka-style local food, cooked and shared by the community. Drinks on sale. We're inviting everyone from Bellevue, Pomrose, Tower Hill, and all surrounding areas to come and be part of it. It's all about good energy, good people, good vibes. Sponsored by the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, Member of Parliament for St. David, Solid the Band, Wagiti Rental and Sound Company, Country Cold Store, Luma Lighting Decor, and the Apwetut community. So don't miss it. Apwetut Junction, this Sunday, May 3rd, 3 to 10 p.m. Apwetut Vibes, Up From Here.
We going up, going up, going up. Like all of them in our house, they sick. No movement when they catch it. Unity is strength, and we getting stronger. When they see we numbers, they started to shiver. We go in the backyard and create a tremor. So when the man say that he blacking out, what you think he did catch? Yellow fever, yellow fever. Whoa, oh, we give them yellow fever, yellow fever. Whoa, oh, now we give them yellow, 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 yellow fever, yellow, 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 yellow. We give them yellow fever, yellow, 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 yellow fever, yellow, 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 yellow. Thing happening, the progress hot in them, the progress making them sick, the progress of them in pain. Things happening, the progress hot in them, the progress making them sick, the progress of them in pain. Things happening.
Welcome back to the NDC Heartbeat podcast for today's Sunday, 3rd of May.
Yes.
Time is flying.
Very
Time
much
is
so.
flying. So, your constituency, how are things going in Northeast?
No, pretty good. We have seen some of the challenges long-standing, and I dare say since 40 years in some instances, being resolved. And I can make mention of the Constantine widening that is currently ongoing. Finally, the Willis Road Rehabilitation Project has resumed as promised in March of 2026 and is ongoing pretty successfully. So far, what has been done now, the contractor was able to treat with the drain. So we had the initial widening on the right-hand side of the road coming in from the junction to go up to Vendom and Cuffs Avenue. And what is going to happen now is that they're doing the slipper drains, the box drains, connecting it and so on, so that the issue of drainage could be resolved. And then on the left-hand side will be the widening, where they will be doing a lot of the block work and widening and straightening corners where it is necessary. So we had the shaving of the banks, which was successful. So far, we've had no issues. And I want to place on record my great appreciation to the contractors, the Ministry of Infrastructure as well, for doing an excellent job thus far and ensuring that as we go in this very difficult project, safety and the mechanisms for safety is something that was maintained. And so the project itself is going well, and I look for a successful completion in the coming months as we proceed throughout the year 2026. Right, there is an additional project that will be upcoming. So right after that project is completed, President Need Nawasa is relaying the pipes from Monkuma Junction back down to Tempe. They are around Bolio thereabout, just before the Bolio Bridge. And they will be coming down sooner rather than later. And so once they have completed that project, the government of Grenada, through the Ministry of Infrastructure, has another design, build, finance model that it will implement in terms of a project. This was announced by Prime Minister earlier on this year as Minister of Infrastructure, and we look forward again to when that one starts and when it completes. This one will be very, very important because, as you know, just past the Decal gas station, just past Mr. George going into the junction to Twin Bridge, there's a huge silk cotton tree that is on the edge of the road. And for years, that has been a problem. In fact, if there were to be any significant wind and this tree falls down, the entire subsurface of that road is going to deteriorate and collapse. And it's a critical bypass which takes you back up to 1910, St. Andrew, those areas. And so it is something that is ongoing in terms of the assessment, the planning, the design, etc. And as I said, once we complete the Constantine Willis Road Rehabilitation Project, we will then shift our focus there. But we are not stopping there. Boca, Tempe roadways are also under consideration for major upgrades, widening where can be necessary, and to ensure that we treat with the issue of access or accessibility throughout the constituency. The fire truck presently can't go in certain parts in the constituency. The huge ambulances that we have presently can't drive in certain parts of the constituency, and that is a problem. And so much of what we are doing is about widening and resolving issues of flooding, which we are about 90% complete in terms of our initial assessment with flood mitigation projects and works throughout the constituency. So that has been going well, and we are very satisfied with the quality of work. Some instances, delays did occur, and it had a lot to do with weather and some of those challenges, but by and large, we have been able to meet every deadline successfully.
Great, fantastic. Well, lots of things are happening.
Lots of things. And maybe I can mention we do have just completed actually a training course at Boca Secondary School. This was done in part with the MP and our office and the Ministry of Community and Social Development, in which we were able to partner with a service provider to train about 11 young women in the area of office administration. So they will now receive their NVQs at the end of it. It is completed, the assessment, and I think they're running whatever necessary assessments further to finalize so that they can receive their certificates. And so we are very pleased with that. Just last night, we concluded that support there to the football grill competition that we have been working with people like Javid and some of the other, and Jason and some of the other younger fellas in the community of Tempe to have. We want a community Premier League, so to speak, for football. and they are working it. And they are proving further why we need to continue and push forward with the upgrade at the Tempe playing field, because definitely it will be the premium playing field in time to come.
That's great. That's great. It's nicely lit up and so forth.
Yes,
and
yes.
You have nice, tasty barbecue all the time going.
Very much so, very much so, very much so. You do a wonderful job.
Yeah, people that travel from way out, they even walk in to come for that barbecue.
Yeah, man. Javid doing an excellent job with his barbecue, so it's good.
Great. All right. Well, we take a short break, and if there isn't anything further, we'd want to jump right into the excerpts from the recently held May Day celebration. So back with you in a moment.
Sure.
Grenada is moving forward, and young people like you are at the heart of it. The National Democratic Youth Movement is all about connecting, learning, and making real impact. This is your chance to be a part of something bigger, to grow, to lead, and shape the future while making a difference. If you are ready to step up, have your voice heard, and help build a better Grenada, then the National Democratic Youth Movement is the organization for you. Join us, because you are the future.
Montreal, prepare for an exquisite evening of insight and elegance. Join us on Friday, June 5th at 6:30 p.m. at Plaza Volaire in the Armand Plaza Hotel for a night you won't want to miss. Our keynote speaker for the evening will be the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, Prime Minister of Grenada. Enjoy an ambossal cocktail, a delightful dinner, a captivating live entertainment, all while supporting a great cause. It's at 6600 Chemin de la Côte-de-Liesse, Saint-Laurent, Quebec. Secure your spot for this extraordinary event. Get your advance tickets now for $150 or $170 after May 5th. Don't wait. Seating is limited. Call us today at 514-707-1533, 514-773-6519 or 514-928-5370 to reserve your tickets. Join us for an exquisite evening of insight and elegance. Get ready, Montreal, for an unforgettable night. Proudly presented by the NDC Canada chapter. We can't wait to see you there.
Welcome back to all those who are on the NDC Facebook today, also on YouTube, and those who are on radio listening to the NDC podcast. Want to mention that the program will continue beyond the 1 o'clock hour, so those who are listening on radio, please follow us on YouTube or on Facebook. We'll be presenting the Minister of Labor's presentation and also other excerpts from the Labor Day celebrations held in Carriacou this year. So at this time, let me ask the MP for St. George Northeast to do his closing remarks, and we go right into the celebration, Labor Day celebration presentation.
So thank you, Brother Terry. We have upcoming June 21st, mega rally at Monroe's Playing Field. More details will be announced soon and in the coming weeks, where we would outline a number of exciting things. And once all goes well, the party will have some important announcements to make, and the public will get to see the real options that they should be voting for come whenever the election is announced by Honorable Prime Minister. But so far, we are going full steam ahead, and we are asking the public to mobilize, organize early. There are going to be very exciting opportunities. It is going to be a general council. So it will occur at the Trade Center. So members, delegates will have to come for the earlier sessions. And then the general public will be there at Monroe's Playing Field, maybe around 5-6 o'clock, to enjoy, so to speak, the service of the National Democratic Congress in government. And so for all the good things that we've done, we need to celebrate that, and in big style. So come out to that mega rally, June 21st, 2026.
Well, June 21st is also symbolic with the commencement of Diaspora Homecoming.
Interesting.
The 2 week of celebration starting from the 21st on to July 5th. And essentially the message out to the diaspora is to come home, celebrate, reconnect, share your skills and talents, and look at business opportunities. One in particular is housing. There continues to be a serious housing shortage in Grenada, and reasonably priced houses. And the diaspora has been invited to look at this as a particular means of investment opportunities. So it's going to be a very, very exciting moment from the 21st of June. We're starting off with a church service, and then we get the blessings, and looks as though we'll have to head to the rally thereafter.
Well, no wonder why some people say an election will call around June. Well. I'm just kidding, but yes. All right. So it's going to be exciting.
Yes, yes, indeed. June will no longer be a slow month. It's going to pick up momentum, and it's going to be an annual event, Diaspora Homecoming. We'll have some flyers, and advertising will go into full gear this week, promoting the activities and so forth.
Excellent.
So thank you again, MP,
Welcome.
and we'll now go right into the presentation by Senator the Honorable Claudette Joseph as she addressed May Day celebrations, and thereafter we'll take some excerpts from the celebration itself. So stay with us, and have a great Sunday afternoon, and catch up with you again next week Sunday when we'll do it all over again. Thank you, and do enjoy the rest of the programming.
Karaku! Some people over so ask for some potatoes, brother Toes. Honorable Prime Minister, Parliamentary Representative and Minister for Carriacou and Pidi-Martinique Affairs, Mr. Tevin Andrew, Minister for Agriculture, Honorable Lennox Andrew, Minister for Tourism and Creative Affairs and Culture, Senator Adrian Thomas, Ambassador Yadiris Enrique Paz, Buenas tardes, General Secretary for the Caribbean Congress of Labor, Comrade Michael Anisette, various presidents of all the trade unions represented here, and anyone missing who may be online. I notice at least one union is not very well represented here. Specially invited guests, members of the media, brothers and sisters, comrades all, workers of Grenada, Carriacou, and Pidi-Martinique. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I greet you on behalf of our Prime Minister, Comrade Deacon Mitchell, who together with me and Minister Thomas had to move the oceans to get here today. This is how committed we are to you, the workers of Grenada. Our flight got cancelled, and we figured we had to work some magic to get to Carriacou, and we are here. And indeed very happy to be here. I greet as well the team at the Ministry of Legal Affairs, Labor and Consumer Affairs. Happy International Workers' Day to all our beloved Tri-Island State workers. It is indeed with immense pride and a deep sense of responsibility that I join you today to commemorate International Workers' Day under the theme, Stronger Together, Defending Workers' Rights, Securing Our Future. Comrades, sisters and brothers, this theme is more than a slogan. It is a declaration that reflects the relative peace and stability that we have enjoyed together over the last months. It affirms that workers' rights are best protected through unity, that progress is achieved through social dialogue, and that the future of our nation depends on decent work, fairness, and dignity for all. Our administration, brothers and sisters, believes firmly that when government, workers, trade unions, and other stakeholders move together in good faith, Grenada moves forward. From the day we assumed office, our mission has been clear and consistent. To correct historical injustices, strengthen job security, improve working conditions, and build a modern, resilient labor system that leaves no worker behind. Importantly, our mission is to attain and maintain industrial peace and stability. So when disputes arise, and indeed they do, we will abide by the principles of consultation, conciliation, and mediation in resolving them. And we will be guided by the tenets of equity, fairness, reasonableness, and what protects the lives and livelihoods of our workers. Brothers and sisters, today I am proud to give the nation a clear and honest account of the key labor reforms and actions of this government. Reforms shaped through dialogue and partnership, grounded in fairness, and carried out in the unwavering defense of the workers of our beloved country. These are not abstract, brothers and sisters. These are not pie-in-the-sky ideals or ideas. These are real changes for real workers like you in real workplaces across Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And they speak directly to this year's call, defending workers' rights today while securing our future for tomorrow. Brothers and sisters, the public sector regularization continues to address long-standing employment anomalies and deficiencies that have affected workers for far too long and that no other administration addressed. In fact, previous administrations compounded the problem. I am pleased to say to you, workers of Grenada, that as of 31st March 2026, 1,240 public officers have been regularized. And to be clear, Sister Daisy, listen to me carefully. To be clear, these are appointments via the Public Service Commission. Proper regularization, we say. They include 417 teachers. Brother Judy, you hearing me? 417 teachers, 286 other confirmations across the wider public service, including police officers, prison officers, nurses, and other essential workers. 537 new positions that have been created, recognizing mission-critical roles necessary for effective public service delivery. Anybody ever did that for you workers? Answer me, man. Let's be honest. Anybody? Thank you. We're giving you that, and we're giving you locally grown potatoes. Brothers and sisters, we had 80 trainees. So you know the people that they've been having training for 8 and 9 and 10 years? I'm calling them trainees. 80 of them transitioned into full employment in the public service, regularized. I heard a round of applause coming. 102 salary upgrades corrected years of stagnation. 102 salary upgrades. People in position acting, just working on the same salary for years. We fixed that. 232 officers were placed in interim arrangements pending formal creation of mission-critical posts. So what I'm saying is that when these mission-critical posts are created, we would have these 232 officers regularized, brothers and sisters. Here it is. Approximately 200 young men and women have been recruited into the Royal Grenada Police Force and the prison service. So add that to the 1240, and you would see how far forward we are moving. Brothers and sisters, this is not accidental. It is deliberate and conscious work. This is not political gimmicks. It is a demonstration of our genuine love and care for you, the workers of Grenada. This is the work of a caring government pursuing deliberate, structured, transparent, and principled steps to promote fairness, job security, and stability across the public service. Brothers and sisters, my comrades, our commitment to defending workers' rights is also reflected in the way we engage with our trade union partners. The government negotiating team has maintained continuous engagement with public sector unions. Imagine, I'm reminding you, you've gotten 2 increases so far since we assume office, and you ain't have to march in the sun and the rain. We ain't going back. Brothers and sisters, we have concluded agreements between 4 unions affecting public workers. The Royal Grenada Police Force Welfare Association, the Prison Officers Welfare Association, the Grenada Union of Teachers, for both public sector teachers and those at TAMCC. And by the way, in the history of TAMCC, this is the first concluded collective bargaining agreement. I didn't hear the round of applause. I said, in the history of TAMCC, this collective agreement concluded with the GUT is its first. We are working for you. We have also settled collective agreements with the Bank and General Workers Union and with the Grenada Manual Maritime and Intellectual Workers Union. These agreements, brothers and sisters, cover the workers who keep this country running every day. teachers shaping young minds in our classrooms, police officers and prison officers maintaining public order and public safety, and the often unseen but indispensable workers such as cooks who ensure our children are fed, cleaners who maintain healthy and safe spaces, and estate workers whose labor underpins food security across our nation. And yes, that includes the workers connected with the Ministry of Agriculture, who are now producing 2 varieties of Irish potatoes as we march towards food security. Sisters and brothers, these outcomes reflect respect for collective bargaining and a government that honors negotiated commitments. We ain't call election yet. We don't wait to call election, Brother Andre, and then sign agreements and renege after elections.
The Apwetut community is inviting you this Sunday, May 3rd, to something special. Apwetut Vibes, Up From Here, taking place at Apwetut Junction, near the McQueens, from 3 to 10 p.m. Come experience a real community lime with live entertainment from Solid the Band, bringing the vibes all evening. Enjoy free Saraka-style local food, cooked and shared by the community. Drinks on sale. We're inviting everyone from Bellevue, Rose, Tower Hill, and all surrounding areas to come and be part of it. It's all about good energy, good people, good vibes. Sponsored by the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, Member of Parliament for St. David, Solid the Band, Wagity Rental and Sound Company, Country Cold Store, Luma Lighting Decor, and the Apwetut community. So don't miss it. Apwetut Junction, this Sunday, May 3rd, 3 to 10 p.m. Apwetut Vibes, Up From Here.
We going up, going up, going up.
The leaders to be ready. Let's welcome our brother Jude Bartholomew.
My God is good, yo. Everything a double double. Everything a double double. From my God is good, yo. My God is good, yo. My God is good, yo.
Fringe benefits so. Fringe benefits so. Fringe benefits so.
My God is good, yo.
Hey, just let me hear you.
Everything a double double. Everything a
Double double.
Promotion double double.
Fringe benefits and so.
Your business double double.
Yes, a double double. Fringe benefits for so. From the Grenada Union of Teachers, let me hear you. All right. By the way, the 4% salary increase were paid by this administration, by the NDC administration under the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, very early for the first time. Teachers, let me hear you say yeah. All right, I just want to hear you on the same thing for TAMCC lecturers. They were paid the 5% very early for the first time. So I want to put that on record. Fraternal greetings to the citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique on the International Labor Day, May Day. All workers and working class people of Grenada across the Caribbean region. Most importantly, fraternal greetings to all the teachers and members of the Grenada Union of Teachers, the best, the most impactful and powerful trade union organization in Grenada throughout the Caribbean region. A trade union celebrating 113 years of existence this year, 2026, going stronger and better. We are happy to celebrate May Day 2026 with our fellow teachers, workers, and peoples of the sister islands of Carriacou and Petit-Martinique. And I quote this scripture here, 1 Corinthians 15, verses 5 to 8. Your labor is not in vain. Today, workers celebrate under the theme, promoting the goals of labor. enhancing workers' rights for security and equity. This is a great and excellent team, wonderfully chosen by the Trade Union Council. It covers all workers and for social and economic justice between employer and employees, teachers, public officers, nurses, doctors, police officers, cooks, cleaners, Imani workers, domestic workers, established workers, non-established workers, unionized workers and non-unionized workers, workers' rights for social and economic justice and job security. However, as excellent as the team may be, it is 5 or 10 years late. This team reminds me about one of the most difficult periods in our trade union history under the previous NNP administration, with our struggles and industrial battles for teachers and public officers. And the voice we were hearing at that time was only the Grenada Union of Teachers. We, working class people, had to fight to face 5 years of social and economic justice. 5 years ago, that teachers and workers will never forget. Our fight for salary increase and pension restoration, candlelight march and vigil, protest action in every parish, every nook and corner of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique. Facebook, Google remind GUT on April 24, 2026 about what we faced 5 years ago under the previous NNP administration. Police came to my home and demanded that I came down to Fort George on the famous Saturday, and I said, no, I'm not going to Fort George. They insisted that I come down to St. David's police station instead of questioning. 5 years ago, teachers' salary was docked by the dock. And the then Minister for Education, teachers cried, workers cried long tears. No money to feed their children and their family for Christmas. This was the worst Christmas ever. 5 years ago, but the Grenada Union of Teachers never gave up. We were never daunted. We were never afraid. Don't play a mess with the Grenada Union of Teachers and teachers throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique. NNP docked our salary, but today we dock the damn tail of government out of government. We will never forget this team from May Day 2026 will have been wonderful 5 years ago. The citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique, the diaspora, teachers and workers, prayed to God, cry out to God, like the Israelites did in slavery, bondage in Egypt, to be freed from the hands of the Pharaoh. And in 2022, God said enough is enough, and he set the people and workers of Grenada free, just as he did for the people of Israel, with a new leader, a compassionate leader, who has a heart and a love for the citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique, a heart that loves labor, the working class of this country, led by the Prime Minister, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, the most labor-friendly government in the history of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique. Who paid the pension when NNP was creating the tension? Who paid the pension? The Honorable Deacon Mitchell paid the workers the pension. For the first time, look at how teachers and workers are so happy when they retire, thanks to the new administration. Otherwise, workers would retire to poverty and depression. When God set Israel free, they were tempted to return to bondage in Egypt because of trying times in the desert. Working class people, teachers and citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique, we can't go back to slavery in Egypt. When God set you free, you are free indeed. Under the new administration, workers and teachers can protest freely, criticize daily, freely for the first time. Take whatever industrial action that we want. No police or government coming to arrest and detain union officials and workers for the first time. And we don't have to see trouble marching up and down the street for a salary increase and fringe benefits for the first time. Let me back up what I'm saying about a labor-friendly, working-class government and Prime Minister for the first time. Let me tell you about TAMCC, lecturers' benefits and teachers' benefits for the first time. Almost under the new administration, 47% salary increase for the lecturers at TAMCC from 2022 to 2028 under this new administration for the first time. For the first time. 10% salary increase for the first period, 2026 to 2028. Fringe benefit package for lecturers at TAMCC for the period 2026 to 2028. The best ever under the Deacon Mitchell administration and duty for the first time. Pension for all lecturers at TAMCC under the contributory pension scheme with 100% pass credit for the first time. Which means that lecturers are not losing past years of service. Government paying 100 for that for the first time. Teachers, let me hear you say for the first time. For the first time. Severance pay for TAMCC lecturers better than what is in the labor code. 5 years and under, 3 weeks pay per year. 6 to 9 years, 5 weeks pay per year. 10 years and over, 9 weeks pay per year for the first time under the GUT and this new administration. 90% concession on hybrid vehicles for TAMCC lecturers, riding comfort and style for the first time. And let me say to you, teachers, the GUT negotiated. We write our benefit for ourselves. So when we get it, you can't vex with us. You have to write for your benefits for yourself. Get your benefits for yourself. We write for ours. You can't vex with us. Right, so we're coming now to teachers. Teachers make more noise. Let me hear you say, for the first time, we're coming now to teachers in the public schools, primary schools and secondary, the best benefits ever for the first time, and teachers are happy. 13% salary increase for the second time in succession, the highest ever for the first time, and government paid teachers their 4% salary increase for 2026 already. The best fringe benefits ever under the Honorable Deacon Mitchell administration for the first time. Teachers in charge of preschool, attached and attached, $300 increase monthly allowance. An additional teacher for teachers in charge of every preschool, attached and attached for the first time. Full-time cleaners for the preschool, taking care of your little children. Parents, I want you to understand that the preschool is fundamental. And so when the government is paying the teachers in preschool $300, they are supporting the parents and families throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitimatnik for the first time. Come and put your hands together. The mic belongs to me now. Don't afraid to talk. Don't afraid to make noise. Like our time. Our time. An additional teacher for teachers in charge in every preschool. Full-time cleaners in every preschool for the first time. So the building could be clean and healthy, health and safety. Additional teachers in every primary school and school for special education equipped to deal with children with special needs for the first time. Additional caregivers for schools for special education for the first time. The regularization of temporary teachers in primary and preschools without mathematics. While NNP wanted to make them go, this administration giving them the prominence and make them glow. Pick the paper for me. For the first time. And you could say my papers are flying here for the first time in flying colors. Not forgetting the $500 classroom allowance for every teacher in secondary, primary, and preschool for the first time. Other benefits secured, the regularization of approximately 400 teachers between 2024 and July of 2025. This is a labor-friendly organization, a friendly government, worker-friendly, teacher-friendly administration, minimum wage for domestic, non-unionized workers, uniform and books, allowance, everything for teachers and for private and secondary schools and preschool. The upgrade of technical teachers, listen to that, since 2008, These technical teachers were crying out. Even under the previous administration, nobody bothered with them. They were never upgraded. Thanks to the Honorable Deacon Mitchell administration and the GUT, they were upgraded in 2025 with retroactive payments going back to 2008 for the first time. School repairs, school expansion, the building of new schools, free transportation for some students, free tuition for TAMCC students, school feeding program, scholarship for working class families, teachers training and workshop. I'm calling out those things because we want the nation to understand that when a government is doing that for your children, they are doing it for you. So the working class people, money can be saved in your pocket. So there is no excuse for children not going to school for the first time. All these are designed to ensure the pressure of financial burdens on the working class families and citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Martinique, so every child can receive an education. We call upon the government of Grenada this time to regularize, as they are doing, nurses, doctors, agricultural workers, cleaners in schools, hospitals, in government places, cooks in schools and imanis. They will be regularized soon for the first time. And hear that the previous NNP administration claimed that they love workers, they love young people, they love imanis. How come they never regularized them for all these years that they were in power? Who love who? Instead of the previous administration regularizing cleaners, cooks, and imanis, they had them in faith, hope, and charity. Instead of the administration regularizing, providing job security for the imanis and other young workers, they were regularizing their votes for the elections. But under the Honorable Deacon Mitchell administration, they will be regularized for the first time. Problems that we face with the Ministry of Education. And we want the NDC administration to listen to us loud and clear. While we praise you, we must criticize you. Constructive criticism. The chronic late payments of salary for some teachers. The chronic late payments for salary. Enough is enough. Young teachers, people crying out. And time to put an end to the late payments. The bank is calling, interest rates and everything like that, so put an end to it for late payments. The book of Sirach, chapter 34, verses 26 to 27, and I quote, "To deprive an employer of his wages is to commit murder." Deuteronomy chapter 24, verses 14 to 15, and I quote, "Do not withhold the wages from your workers, for their livelihood depends on it." No appointment letters. We're not getting it. Appointment letters. Check up on that. No joining of services for temporary teachers who are made permanent with continuous service for pension purposes. We want the Public Service Commission, DPA, the Ministry of Education. If a teacher is temporary and has continuous service, there is no need for the teachers, when they retire for pension and you apply, to go to DPA. PSC's responsibility is to do that because they don't have to join any service, continuous service. That is different to a breaking service, and we're having some problem there. Upgrade of teachers with bachelor's degree and master's degree, the inducement master's degree allowance, no priority area, and NNP administration put a stop to it. And we're asking this administration, if you want teachers, education to flourish for bachelor's and master's and higher degree, give the teachers the inducement allowance. And so we're calling it NIS old age pension causing some tension. Compulsory retirement age is 60, and you have to wait until age 65 to get your NIS money. It's calling some pension here. Get rid of it. Salary slips is a problem. Teachers, upgrade of the teachers since 2024. I call upon the public and private sector to respect the rights of workers, established workers, non-unionized workers, workers with a voice. No victimization on the job, just wages and job security. Teachers, workers, we call upon you to give an honest day's work for an honest day's pay right across the public service. Let us work to build our nation. Let us protect the rights of all workers and citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Martinique. We have the best labor-friendly administration for the first time. The best president of GUT for the first time. And who is the best Prime Minister for Labour in Grenada, Carriacou and Pittimatic, for the first time, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell. Long live the working class of Grenada, Carriacou and Pittimatic. Long live the Grenada Union of Teachers. Thank you.
The Apwetud community is inviting you this Sunday, May 3rd, to something special. Apwetud Vibes, Up From Here, taking place at Apwetud Junction, near the McQueens, from 3 to 10 p.m. Come experience a real community lime with live entertainment from Solid the Band, bringing the vibes all evening. Enjoy free Saraka-style local food, cooked and shared by the community. Drinks on sale. We're inviting everyone from Bellevue, Rose, Tower Hill, and all surrounding areas to come and be part of it. It's all about good energy, good people, good vibes. Sponsored by the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, Member of Parliament for St. David, Solid the Band, Wagiti Rental and Sound Company, Country Cold Store, Luma Lighting Decor, and the Apwetud community. So don't miss it. Apwetud Junction, this Sunday, May 3rd, 3 to 10 p.m. Apwetud Vibes, Up From Here.